When Boeing unveiled the 777X, it was supposed to be the future of long-haul aviation, bigger, quieter, more efficient, and ready to dominate the skies. Yet, years later, there's something strange. Not a single US airline has placed an order. No Delta, no American, no United. Instead, it's Emirates, Qatar, and Lufthansa who are betting billions on this giant twin jet. So what went wrong? Is it the timing, the size, or something deeper within Boeing's strategy that scared off its own home market? Let's uncover why the 777X became a global flagship, without a US flag. When Boeing first announced the 777X program back in 2013, it was presented as the ultimate evolution of the long-haul twin jet. A perfect blend of power, efficiency, and passenger comfort. Building on the legendary success of the original 777, Boeing wanted to create something that could outperform the Airbus A350 and even replace some of the demand once held by the retiring 747. The result was a plane that looked familiar, but was fundamentally new in almost every way. The 777X features massive carbon fiber composite wings, the largest ever produced for a commercial jetliner. To solve the problem of limited airport space, Boeing introduced an ingenious solution: folding wingtips. This allowed the aircraft to have a wingspan of over 71 meters in flight, for better fuel efficiency, but fold them up while taxiing, so it could fit into existing gates designed for smaller planes. It was the first time such technology had ever been used in a passenger jet. Under the hood, the 777X is powered by the GE9X engine, developed exclusively by General Electric. These are the most powerful jet engines ever built, capable of producing up to 134,000 pounds of thrust. Despite their size, they are surprisingly efficient, featuring advanced composite fan blades and ceramic materials that can withstand higher temperatures while consuming less fuel. Inside, Boeing promised a next-generation passenger experience. The cabin would feature larger windows, higher humidity, lower cabin altitude, and wider seats, similar to the comfort of the Dreamliner. Airlines could also configure the aircraft to carry up to 426 passengers over nearly 8,700 nautical miles, perfect for connecting major global hubs like Dubai, London, Sydney, and Los Angeles. The numbers looked unbeatable. 10% better fuel efficiency than the A350-1000 and a range that could open new non-stop routes across the Pacific. Boeing's leadership confidently predicted that every major long-haul airline, especially US carriers like United, Delta, and American, would eventually add it to their fleets. But that never happened. By the time the 777X was nearing certification, the world had shifted. The pandemic, rising fuel costs, and the preference for smaller, more versatile aircraft made airlines rethink their long-haul strategies. What once looked like the future of aviation started to resemble a solution for a past era, when bigger meant better. The 777X was ready to lead the skies, but few were ready to follow.
For decades, Boeing's largest jets proudly wore the colors of American, Delta, and United. But when it came to the 777X, all three major US carriers took a step back. Their message was clear: this aircraft didn't fit their future. Let's start with American Airlines. After years of long-haul expansion, American began to focus on simplifying its fleet. It already operates the 787-8 and 787-9 Dreamliners, which offer the same trans-Pacific range, but with smaller capacity and much better economics on thinner routes. The 777X, designed for ultra-long-haul hub-to-hub travel, would have been too large and too expensive to fill consistently. United Airlines, which once relied heavily on the 777-200ER and 777-300ER, made a similar calculation. United's growth strategy now revolves around flexibility, being able to launch new routes to smaller cities worldwide. With the 787 family and the upcoming Airbus A321XLR, United can serve destinations that don't require 400 seats. For them, the 777X's size was more of a burden than an advantage. Then there's Delta Airlines. Delta has leaned heavily toward Airbus in recent years, particularly after merging with Northwest Airlines, which had strong ties to the European manufacturer. Delta's fleet of A350-900s and A330neos fits perfectly within its route network, efficient, modern, and capable of serving both Europe and Asia without oversupplying capacity. The 777X, in Delta's view, would simply duplicate what the A350 already does, but at a higher cost and risk. But beyond strategy and fleet balance, there's a deeper issue: timing. The 777X was born into a world that no longer values bigger as better. Long-haul demand has become unpredictable, and airlines have learned painful lessons from maintaining large aircraft like the 747 or A380 during downturns. U.S. carriers now prize aircraft that can be deployed flexibly, not ones that require every flight to be sold out to be profitable. There's also trust. After the 737 MAX crisis, Boeing's reputation suffered among many airline executives. The repeated delays and certification hurdles of the 777X didn't help either. For U.S. airlines that already had viable alternatives flying, it made little sense to gamble on another Boeing promise that might arrive years late. In short, America's airlines didn't reject the 777X because it's bad. They rejected it because it no longer matched their reality. While U.S. airlines stepped away from the 777X, international carriers embraced it with open arms. For them, Boeing's giant twin jet wasn't a mismatch. It was exactly what their business models demanded. The first to sign up was Emirates, ordering more than 100 aircraft and becoming the program's launch customer. To a hub-based airline like Emirates, the 777X is not too big, it's just right. The reason lies in the hub and spoke system that defines Middle Eastern and many Asian carriers. Instead of flying passengers directly between smaller cities, they channel massive numbers of travelers through central hubs like Dubai, Doha, or Singapore, and then connect them onward to the rest of the world. These long, high-density routes require aircraft that can carry hundreds of people efficiently over ultra-long distances. The 777X, with its range of nearly 8,700 nautical miles and capacity for over 400 passengers, fits this model perfectly. For Qatar Airways, the 777X complements its 787 and A350 fleet, offering a higher capacity option for its most premium routes. Etihad Airways, facing stiff competition in the region, also saw the 777X as a chance to modernize its image while maintaining long-range capability. Lufthansa, meanwhile, viewed the 777-9 as a symbol of prestige, a flagship aircraft that would showcase German engineering excellence with brand-new first-class suites and luxurious cabins. Even Singapore Airlines and Cathay Pacific, both known for their operational precision, found the 777X appealing for their busiest routes connecting Asia to Europe and North America. For these carriers, the economics make sense. When you can fill nearly every seat with passengers or cargo, a large aircraft becomes incredibly profitable. But there's also national pride and global presence. In regions like the Middle East and Asia, airlines serve as extensions of national identity. Having the newest, most advanced aircraft isn't just about efficiency, it's about projecting power, prestige, and innovation. The 777X, with its futuristic design and cutting-edge technology, fits that image perfectly. While American, Delta, and United see the 777X as oversized, Emirates and Qatar see it as essential. Their markets, hubs, and traffic flows are built for volume. And for them, the 777X isn't a relic of the past. It's the perfect aircraft for the next generation of intercontinental dominance.
The fact that no U.S. airline has bought the 777X says a lot about how Boeing's role in global aviation has shifted. Once, Boeing's biggest and most advanced aircraft were proudly flown by American carriers, symbols of U.S. engineering and dominance in the skies. But now, Boeing's flagship jet will debut with Emirates and Lufthansa, not United or Delta. That marks a turning point. This situation exposes a strategic divide between Boeing's past and present. The 777X was conceived in an era when airlines were still expanding mega-hub routes, and Boeing expected global demand for larger planes to remain strong. But by the time the 777X was ready, the market had moved towards smaller, more versatile aircraft, like the 787 and A321XLR. Airbus had already capitalized on this trend with the A350-900, a jet that fit perfectly between performance and flexibility, attracting dozens of airlines, including Delta. Meanwhile, Boeing's own trajectory was complicated by crisis after crisis. The 737 MAX grounding, delays in 787 deliveries, and ongoing certification issues for the 777X all hurt the company's reputation for reliability. When your domestic customers lose confidence, rebuilding that trust takes years. American, United, and Delta all needed stability, not another program with uncertain timelines. From a business standpoint, the 777X represents both Boeing's ambition and its challenge. It's an engineering masterpiece, the most advanced wide-body ever made, yet it may serve mostly foreign airlines. For a company that once symbolized American leadership in aviation, that's an ironic twist. Still, Boeing isn't giving up. The company sees the 777X as essential to maintaining its position in the high-capacity long-haul market, a segment still dominated by Middle Eastern and Asian airlines. If the 777X performs as promised, delivering lower emissions, reduced noise, and high passenger comfort, it could restore some of Boeing's lost prestige internationally. But the deeper question remains, can Boeing stay relevant in its own home market? If U.S. carriers continue favoring Airbus for long-haul routes, Boeing risks losing not just sales, but influence. The 777X might soar across the world's skies, but its absence in the U.S. highlights a worrying trend. One where Boeing builds planes that fly everywhere, except home. The 777X could still define Boeing's future, but only if the company learns to adapt faster than its rivals.
The Boeing 777X stands as both a triumph of engineering and a warning about timing. It's the world's largest, most advanced twin jet, yet it has no place in the fleets of American carriers. That reality speaks volumes about how aviation has changed. U.S. airlines are chasing flexibility, not size. They want aircraft that can adapt, shift routes, and remain profitable even when demand fluctuates. The 777X, for all its power and elegance, belongs to a world where full jumbo jets ruled the skies. That world no longer exists, at least not in America. But for airlines like Emirates, Qatar, and Lufthansa, the 777X represents something else: confidence. Confidence in global travel, in full premium cabins, and in the prestige of operating the newest flagship jet on Earth. Boeing's challenge now isn't just to deliver the 777X, it's to rebuild trust and reimagine what American aviation truly needs next. Whether that means smaller wide bodies, new sustainable technologies, or an entirely different approach, the lesson is clear. Innovation must meet reality. If you enjoyed this deep dive into aviation strategy and technology, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and stay tuned for more fascinating stories from the skies.